Welcome back to the Rise and Align podcast, where we talk about all things high vibrational. We are your hosts. My name is Halie.
And I'm Demi. Today we're going to do a tarot reading for the collective. So we are pulling a spread that tells you your recent past, the current influence and what your situation is now, what is about to unfold in your future. And the fourth card is going to give you advice about what action you may need to take based on what your spirit guides think is best for you. And the fifth card is the most likely outcome based on things as they are now. You always have the power to change the direction you are going and change this outcome if you don't like it. And I will reread those as we go through, but with no further ado, we'll pull some cards for you.
I do want to say, too, before we get started, if you are not sure what tarot is, you want to learn more, check out actually one of our very first few episodes. It is all about tarot. We really deep dive into what it is, how we use it, and the true way to use tarot, which is super interesting. And then today I think is just a really great opportunity for us to kind of show you how we use this in depth, and it's a good time to be using your divination practices because we're kind of coming up on the end of the year here, so it's a good time to self-reflect. So as we go through this episode, I recommend that you get out your notes or your journal and you can take notes, and this will allow you to really reflect after the episode, or you can always pause as we go along, but just a really good opportunity for you to take in this collective message and see how it applies to you.
So the first card is your recent past, either what has just happened or what you are currently experiencing.
And I do want to note, you can think of this if you would like, since we're kind of preparing for the end of the year, you can think about, maybe how this applies in the past year to you, 2023. So the card that I pulled is the World.
Ooh.
So this is what it looks like if you can see. This card is pulled specifically from the Moon Witch Tarot deck. And so the image is a little bit more witchy than the traditional tarot deck.
If you are watching the video, here is the traditional image.
So they're actually pretty similar. So there's the infinity signs on the top and bottom, and it's almost like a wreath or something surrounding. They are holding two wands. Does it look like wands for you?
Yeah, they look like wands to me.
And they're kind of wrapped in a very silky looking fabric, kind of floating in the clouds. The World card for the tarot deck, or for the witchy deck, has different astrological symbols in it as well. So there is Aquarius, Virgo, Taurus, and Leo. And we'll just kind of dive into what this may mean, and you guys can kind of apply it to your past or what is kind of currently happening for you. So this card is number 21, first of all. So I do believe in numerology, you would add those two numbers up and you would get 3. And the meaning of 3 is growth, initial completion of the first phase of the project, and collaborations with others. So numerology is an important aspect of tarot, as is color. And one thing that our book notes in terms of color is that in this interpretation of the card, she is dancing in a cloth, and it is purple, which is the color of wisdom. Some other themes regarding this card is achievement, union, harmony, wholeness, and mastery. It also says she looks behind her. She looks behind her to the past while her body moves forward towards the future. A wreath bounded by infinity symbols symbolizes the continual cycle of completion, new beginnings, eternity, and limitless potential. There are 4 fixed zodiac signs in the clouds, just like in the Wheel of Fortune, which represents the 4 elements of nature. The world is the final card of the major arcana, the end of the fool's journey, from innocence to naiveness to enlightenment and awareness. The world represents completion, achievement, and success, the end of an old cycle, and the pause before the beginning of a new life. Starting with the Fool all over again. When the world appears in a reading, it means all your efforts are starting to pay off. You have completed a major milestone in your life, and you have built the strength to overcome any challenge. You've conquered your fears, and everything you desire is here, available to you. Happiness, joy, success, and abundance. Anything you undertake now will prosper.
I swear, we don't pre-pull these or anything like that.
You saw me pull it.
couldn't be more perfect representation of the end of the year, and I think a reminder to focus on all you have accomplished, and celebrate those small wins and see how much you have grown over this past year. I think it's the perfect time to reflect and appreciate that. In the kind of original tarot, it says a very similar meaning. It says that the world is all about feeling accomplished and being successful, that your hard work is paying off, the world is your oyster, and new destinations are on the horizon. It also says the world is cyclical and therefore shows the ending of the cycle and the beginning of a new one. In relationships, it can mean moving on to the next phase, whether through marriage or being single again. With work, you may be about to be promoted, change careers, or start traveling. The world shows you that you are moving towards your goals and success will be yours. Keep focusing on growth as you enter a new phase in life. And if you are feeling that kind of in between, make sure that you are focusing on what you do want. You don't have to feel pressured to make a decision, but you must take control over your mind and stay focused on what it is that you do want to attract.
I also like that it had stated, she looks behind her to the past while her body moves forward toward the future. I think that we don't need to be stuck in the past or focused on the past, but to acknowledge it, and whether there are wonderful things or contrast like things that have happened over the past year, notice where you have grown from that, where you can find gratitude in this past year or whatever this period that you're kind of looking at for guidance in terms of time, but to acknowledge the past and notice how far you have come, and simultaneously allow yourself to move into the future and to begin to visualize what that next step looks like for you. I also have another resource that I'm just going to reference as well. It's called The Big Book of Tarot by Joan Bunning. This, again, similar meaning: integration, accomplishment, involvement, and fulfillment. So kind of breaking down integrating, experiencing wholeness, bringing parts together, achieving dynamic balance, combining, joining together, working in unison. So these are all kind of synonyms and in terms of actions for this card. The other word they have is accomplishing. So realizing your goals, prospering, achieving your heart's desire, seeing your dreams come true, flourishing, finding a beautiful solution. There's becoming involved, feeling fulfilled. These are all things that are kind of coming up with this card. Savoring the present, enjoying peace of mind, finding contentment, counting your blessings, feeling engaged, sharing what you have, using a gift or talent. The description in this book also says it's Thanksgiving Day. You've finished a delicious meal. There's a hot mug of coffee in your hand. Friends and family are arguing about the latest fiasco. The baby's cooing at you from across the table, and your feet are rubbing the belly of a devoted mutt. You're happy, fulfilled, and truly thankful. At least until you have to start the dishes. For this moment, the world and everything in it is yours. We all recognize this feeling. It can come at any time or place and is always welcome. We can feel it at home, raking the leaves, or on the world stage, accepting the Nobel Prize. It can seem quite simple or wild. It can seem quiet and simple or wild and glorious. What is this feeling? Where does it come from? Again, a major element of this card is happiness and wholeness. Let's see if there's anything else valuable.
Perfect that we literally did just have Thanksgiving, and I feel like I've been getting the message a lot to remember that your internal world and your feelings are always being mirrored by your external reality. And I was listening to somebody talk about it today, and they said, think about it. When you look in the mirror, the only way the person you're looking at in the mirror is going to smile is if you smile first. And my Arthurian Legend Tarot has questions along with it, which I think are great for self-reflection. One of these questions is, how can you enjoy the freedom and abundance being offered? Which I want to remind you is infinite. And the only way to truly enjoy that is to embody that, to feel that, to recognize that. And for me lately, I do yoga every day. Check out our yoga episode too. But at the end of my practice, I take a deep breath and I reach my arms up in the air and then I pull them down to my heart. And as I'm doing that and as I'm saying namaste and recognizing the infinite beauty and joy and perfection of all that is and all that is within me, I say, I am a part of all that is. All that is a part of me. And as I say that to myself and recognize that, it reminds me of the infinite power that I have within me to not only embody that, but attract that and experience that within my reality. And I think it's so useful.
That's beautiful. It is. I was listening to just a live from Mia Magic. She's really amazing. And I would say an amazing source for embodying your inner magic. And she was talking about this concept of alone. And the meaning of alone is actually all one. And when you're feeling alone, it's a reminder to connect back to or remind yourself that you are one with all. And I just think that that's beautiful to think about at this time, and in terms of even this card, like we talked about in the winter episode, it can be a time where you feel alone, but a reminder to see maybe the more positive side of that, and to know that you are connected to all that is, and you are one with nature, abundance. Like, you can connect yourself to all the joys and happiness in life if you choose to.
Absolutely. Love that. And I mean, some people would be like, what are you talking about? But quite literally, via quantum entanglement, you are connected to all that is. We are one. We are all one. And that can be extremely empowering to just recognize that. All right. The second card we're going to pull is going to represent the current influence, representative of your situation right now.
We've pulled this one before. I know, because it has a castle and a dragon and crystals.
Yeah. 7 of Cups, is it?
Yes, 7 of Cups.
Cups is representative of water, of autumn, change, emotion.
I will note too that on the Moon Witch Tarot card, she is kind of staring off into the clouds, and there are 7 cups, and I think I said this last time, but all the cups look magical to me, but I think that they're not all necessarily intended to be. But so she's looking um, looking up at these like cups and the stars. And so there's like a castle, a dragon, a wreath, crystals, a pigeon, a snake.
It's very similar in the original tarot as well. There's jewels in one cup. There's a dragon, a castle, a snake. One, I don't know what it is. It looks like a ghost of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like kind of hiding maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or something's hidden under there. So the number 7 in terms of numerology represents depth, introspection, soul searching, spirituality, solitude, inner wisdom, and re-evaluating your path. So this was the present
Yep.
card.
Mm-hmm.
So themes around this card are opportunities, choices, possibilities, needing to make a decision, potential, and daydreaming. The 7 of Cups depicts a witch looking up to the heavens. There are 7 cups in the clouds, each holding an object. Some are pleasant and some are not. They are your wishes, dreams, and fears. It is a card of choices, fantasies, daydreams, and illusions. Things are not always as they seem at first glance. 7 of Cups invites you to make a decision. You cannot pursue all your desires at the same time, so choose wisely. Weigh all the pros and cons. Go beyond the illusions of shiny objects. 7 of Cups serves as a reminder that you need to be willing to work hard if you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Direct your energy toward one thing and ground yourself. Your dreams and opportunities will remain up in the clouds until you commit. I will say this is kind of the perfect progression following, the ending of a cycle and then having to
Make a decision.
like
what do you
where
want to move
start?
towards?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also had said in this previous card, I said, if you're having a hard time making a decision, make sure you're focusing on what you do want and what feels good to you. Like that is the best way to make a decision or to attract a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's got really similar meaning within the original tarot. It says you may be living with an illusion and ignoring the reality of a situation. You could be facing difficult decisions and overthinking, trying to weigh up all of the options, or you may be overindulging or being lazy. Whichever it is, you need to make a decision. This is how they call you out. I feel attacked. It is time to face your options realistically and commit to your choice. In my Arthurian legends, it stands for self-deception, illusion, and overactive imagination, unrealistic fantasies, glamour of delusion. And the question is, what is deluding you?
I think that's valuable in terms of thinking of the elements. There is such a thing as being too up in the air and ungrounded
Yes.
in reality. So this is kind of like bringing you back to earth and saying like, okay, you want to do X, Y, and Z, but you can't do it all. Like it's kind of like, it's kind of almost like a wake up call in a way, kind of just bringing you back to earth and what's realistic, which I think there's such a thing as being too grounded.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that this card is kind of encouraging you to maybe take a little bit of a realistic approach to things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel specifically targeted in a certain aspect of my life with this card where maybe I do get too stuck up in the clouds and daydreaming and like figuring out how to bring that down and manifest that into my reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's kind of about taking inspired action as opposed to just having that I don't like just
Thinking about
dreaming.
it or
Yeah.
dreaming about it. Yeah. Also, I think it's notable to recognize that we are actually much more efficient when we're focused on one task at a time. Like multitasking is a deception. It's actually been proven that if you focus on one thing at a time, that you'll be much more efficient. So I think that's important to remember when you are kind of deciding, like, what should I focus my energy on? And make sure that it's something that you truly want, that you are following your own heart and your own passions and putting your joy first, because no one else will do that for you. That's your job. And also, in the reversed meaning of the card at the end here of the Minor Arcana original meaning, it says, fear of making the wrong decision is paralyzing you. Don't let fear rule your mind. Trust your intuition.
I feel like I was also kind of going to go in that direction as well of like, if you are not taking action towards something, why? Why are you afraid? Are you worried of what someone's going to think of you? Are you comfortable, thinking about why you're not making a decision or why you can't choose between something or whatever. I think it's important to take that more introspective approach and be like looking at the reasons why you're in the situation that you're in or why you're feeling the way that you are.
Always pay attention to how you feel too.
I also just want to add to like the reversed meaning, which I feel like the reversed meaning, if it doesn't align with you, that's fine. But I think it can help pull out more of that shadow aspect of yourself that you might be kind of pushing down and harder to like think about. So, it says that this card suggests that maybe you're unwilling to face the realities of life. You're escaping through fantasies and daydreams. And again, you need to ground yourself and come back to the present moment. Life happens here and now. Try to find an inspiration or spark. So if you're in a situation where you're not feeling inspired by anything, but you are escaping, why is that as well? Think about why you're trying to escape and if your life isn't looking how you want it to, start to get inspired and take inspired action from there. Like figure out what you do want. What are you escaping from and what can you change so you don't have to escape from the physical?
Yep. Completely agree.
Okay. So we are on to number 3, and number 3 represents what it is. The number 3 card represents what is about to unfold and is therefore the future card. So kind of thinking about 2024, the year ahead, maybe what energetically is kind of unfolding for you. So it's kind of the future card.
It is the 6 of Pentacles. So there are 3 women here. The main character is holding a gift, which is perfect for this time of year. One is looking forward and one is looking backward. It looks like the gift one is the present.
And 6 represents balance, harmony, love, light after dark, rest, healing, overcoming suffering, harmony with everything that surrounds you, and giving back to the community, gratitude. So again, I think that's really fitting to think about what the future looks like.
Okay, 6 of Pentacles represents giving, receiving, abundance, generosity, growth, gratitude, and kindness, which obviously this episode is coming out right before Christmas, so that's ideal. The upright meaning is 6 of Pentacles depicts a wonderful scene of generosity and exchanging gifts. We cannot quite tell if the witch in the middle is receiving or giving a present, but it doesn't matter. In life, no one will always be in the offering role, nor always in the receiving role. It is all about changing positions. Give when you can and take when you must. Six of Pentacles represents financial abundance, harmony, and security. Good times are here and your hard work is paying off. When Six of Pentacles appears in a reading, it suggests that a blessing, financial help, physical gift, mental support, etc., might be given or received by you. Be grateful for either of these opportunities. The reversed is Six of Pentacles usually represents an unfair dynamic or an imbalance. Perhaps your generous soul keeps on giving but never takes care of herself. Maybe your loved ones are taking advantage of you, or your friends are not paying back their debts. Do not feel trapped inside the scarcity mindset. That, no matter how abundant you are, you never treat yourself or give to others. Take a moment to reflect and be honest with yourself. Remember, in order for abundance to flourish, it needs to flow, just like any other energy. That's a great message for this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the holidays in general can be, I think people can forget that it's about giving and receiving, and not in terms of literal gifts necessarily, but kind of forget the true meaning of the holidays, and it can become a very like scarce time for a lot of people, and you know, if you're not able to have or do X, Y, and Z, you might feel unworthy or something. So I just think it's a good reminder, like you said, for this time of year, but also a good omen or a good perspective of the year ahead, because we're thinking about the future now, and thinking about how you can call this energy in the next year, or you can simply focus on the feeling of what we had just said, and maybe meditate on that or visualize your next year being abundant and healing and about growth, like, and letting yourself really tap into that energy as opposed to the shadow aspect of that like scarce energy.
Even on a materialistic level, I feel like this time of year, like Black Friday and stuff like that, like, I'm not gonna lie, I shop for me. And then there are moments where I'm like, well, girl math, like I saved money, and then I'm like, oh no, I spent so much money, and then I'm like, no, like infinite abundance, it has to flow, and like there's always more, the money always comes, everything's all good. I also feel that way within relationships, like sometimes you are receiving and sometimes you are giving, and there has to be that balance. And if you are a people pleaser, like this is your message to make sure that you are taking care of you first, and that you are not giving to people in order to try to earn your value through that, because you don't have to give anything. You're already valuable.
Right. And to not give to receive necessarily, to give out of your heart space, you know, without any intention to get something in return
from a place
for that.
of love, from a place of abundance.
Yes. So just looking at the traditional meaning of the card, this is the image. If you can see that, it again highlights the idea that this card is the gift card, and it's a card of give and take. The importance of the scales is also one of balance, a balance of power and wealth, as well as giving and receiving. Again, that's a really important point. There's always the equal and opposite to everything, and I think life is about finding balance amongst many things. Another interpretation is that you may be about to receive a gift of money in some way, but equally it can be that you are in need of giving as much as you are taking, especially in matters of the heart. There may be an imbalance that needs to be addressed. However, don't be afraid to ask for what you need in life at this time. You may be pleasantly surprised by what you're given. The reverse meaning of the card can also suggest that something could be off, and if you have too much of one thing, you might be lacking in another. So again, I think it's just highlighting that idea of finding balance.
Agreed. I think I'm going to read this little part from the Arthurian legend because this meaning is a bit different than those two, which were very similar. And this one has more to do with love and romance. It says, after his unsuccessful attempt at the quest, Lancelot returned to seek again the love of Guinevere. Spurned by her for a time, he went mad, roaming about through the wilderness until he was found and brought back to sanity by Elaine of Astolat. I just feel like I've been getting a message lately about relationships where people will get so attached to the idea of a relationship or the concept of being with a person and not remember to stay attached to who they truly are, to themselves, and to remember that like you are whole on your own and that's where your energy needs to be put first. I think this time of year can be especially important to remember that too, like when you're feeling lonely and when it is the darker months, to remember to love yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Also, with it being the holidays and things getting really busy for some people, or having to be around more people, or work is busier, a reminder to take a step back and to take care of yourself and to know when to say no and to have boundaries, so that you are taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, because you're going to be able to show up in a better place when you're doing that.
Definitely.
So we're on to card number 4. The fourth card gives you some advice about what action you may need to take based on what your spirit guides think is best for you. So it's all about action.
Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, I did pull the death card and it was upside down. This particular card has a person on a horse holding a flag that says witches rise up, and there's a raven on her shoulder, and then there's a river in the background with a boat, and there are also mountains and clouds in the background. This card is a number 8. Or is it 13? I'm lied. It's 13. Can't read Roman numerals. Death represents transformation, change, rebirth, transition, letting go, new beginnings, and metamorphosis. The reversed meaning, which is where I pulled it, it points to a transformation and change. However, this change is one you have been resisting or postponing. Perhaps you're afraid to let go of what is familiar, even though it no longer serves you. Maybe you are not sure what actions to take or which direction to go. That's okay. You will figure it out. Embrace the changes and make room for new great things. The upright meaning of the card depicts a witch wearing a skeleton mask, riding a white horse. Death is probably the most feared and misunderstood tarot card. However, tarot is a symbolic language, and it can only be understood metamorphically. So examine all the symbols. The river in the distance is a symbol of eternal transformation. The water evaporates, turning into clouds, and then returns to the river as rain. That is the magic of life. A little boat escorts the dead to the afterlife. The sun rises over the horizon, reminding us that even the sun is reborn every morning. Do not fear the death card. Death simply represents transformation, the end of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. Sometimes you need to put the past behind you to fully embrace new opportunities. Think about the snake shedding its skin or the metamorphosis of the caterpillar. It may be scary to let go of what is familiar, but changes are essential for our growth. Holding on to the past can only bring suffering. Be brave, let go, and embark on a new journey. There is nothing to fear. You are supported.
I think that's beautiful, and again really represents this time period. Winter to me kind of represents, it is death, nature, it's represented in nature, and the end of the year. What do you want to shed or let go of before you can have the opportunity to start fresh in 2024, the next year. But you can also think of this every single morning when you wake up. It's a fresh start. And at night, what do you want to let go of that day so you can start fresh the next day and not let it like hold you back from success the next day or whatever, like not worrying about the day before, which is something that I do a lot in my yoga practice at night. When I am flowing, I'm like releasing the energy from the day out of my body. And a lot of times that's what the cleansing wand or incense does. And taking a shower, you're like cleansing off the day so that you can move forward as a fresh start. But it can be seen everywhere that death is the natural, it's just part of the circle of life, and it's going to happen, and it's actually kind of magical, and you have the opportunity to restart and refresh, whatever. So I'm going to read the reversed meaning as well. So when reversed, this shows that you may be resisting a necessary change that is preventing you from moving forward. If you're grieving over the loss of someone, you may feel a great sense of lack. Remember, change happens. It is inevitable. So don't prolong your suffering. The upright meaning in the traditional sense is if death shows up in a reading, you can expect that some aspect of your life is coming to a conclusion. It could mean a relationship is ending, a lost job, just shifting gears in some way. But out of that ending, you can look forward to something better. So don't resist the change. It's not always something drastic. Go with it and look forward to what is to come. It is a positive.
It is a positive. If not this, then something better. And I also get the message of like letting go of the subconscious beliefs that have held you back. Like if you're starting a new relationship, don't fear that they're going to leave you. Like don't fear abandonment. Don't fear that the same thing's going to happen. Like don't let the trauma that you've experienced hold you back from believing that what you desire can be. Because holding on to those fears and believing that the same thing is going to happen will create that. But if you're willing to let go and to be open and trusting of the universe, then you're going to attract things to have faith and trust in.
Mm-hmm. And if you are able to practice that and catch yourself repeating the cycle, because you can't go through the complete circle of life, the complete phase, if you don't acknowledge it and change something. So if you don't have that death of a belief or a pattern or an aspect of your life, it's going to stay the same. You're going to keep repeating that. So if you were resisting the natural cycles that be, nothing is going to change. But if you welcome death, it is going to allow for change and for new opportunities that you've actually been longing for. You just haven't allowed yourself to kind of complete the cycle and move forward. So it's absolutely necessary to experience death to welcome any sort of new opportunity, because you have to let go of something in order to have space
for something
to hold
new.
the new thing. Yeah,
absolutely. I really like the meanings in the Arthurian legend as well. Upright, it says the release of outworn ideas, stale relationships, and old patterns. Ruthless yet compassionate action. Sexual union, ecstasy, and renewal. And the reversed means resistance to change, stultification, a living death. I think a living death is huge, because when you're not allowing the release of those fears or allowing the end of a cycle or a relationship or whatever it might be that needs to be done, you're not really living. Like it feels horrible inside. And the questions here are, what do you need to let go of? Where can you engage completely? And what wants the opportunity to grow again? Good reflection questions.
Right. And this card in the spread that we're doing represents action. And so the action is, to me, it's telling you to do something that you've been resisting, that is kind of overdue, or that you know needs to be done, but you haven't actually taken that step to let go of what it is that's no longer serving you. And the end of the year is so representative of that. Like letting, a lot of people set New Year's resolutions and stuff, and it's because they are trying to let an old version of them die so that they can move forward as the new them. And I think it's just the perfect time to embrace this card and to embrace all that it is telling us.
All right, our last card. This is the most likely outcome based on things as they are now. You always have the power to change the direction that you're going and change the outcome if you don't like it.
I think that's something in general we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
You always have the ability to choose what to focus on, and you can always change the perspective. I'm really excited about this card. It is so beautiful. It's the 7 of Pentacles.
Another 7.
Yes. She is super beautiful. It looks like she's kind of wading in water. There are some mountains behind her. There's beautiful flowers. She kind of has her arms up over her head. She kind of looks empowered, and it's just giving very happy energy. So the 7 of Pentacles represents accomplishments, rewards, growth, progress, patience, hard work, need to make a long-term decision. It's like we're writing a story here. It's perfect.
Honestly.
Upright, this card represents a witch among her abundant flower fields. She worked hard and is now taking a moment to rest and admire the fruits of her hard work. When the 7 of Pentacles appears in a reading, it invites you to celebrate your accomplishments and continue to take consistent steps towards your goals. It can also represent the need to make a decision between 2 established crops or make a long-term plan. In the illustration, the crops on the right have not bloomed yet. Perhaps there is a part of your life that is always on your mind, but you have not put much effort into. Perhaps it feels underdeveloped. 7 of Pentacles does not give advice on which path to choose. Each path has great potential. The only thing that truly matters is your attitude, work ethic, and commitment to success. I'll read the reverse meaning as well. I just think that it's super interesting in terms of what the outcome is. It's kind of a choose your own adventure, basically. It's telling us that you'll end up wherever you choose to end up, like whatever your attitude is or your action that you take. So, I mean, quite literally is very open-ended, but it's up to you. You get to choose. The reversed meaning points to a potential setback, impatience, or delay. Perhaps you're questioning whether you are investing in the right area. Maybe it is taking longer than you thought to reap the rewards. Wherever you are on your journey, take some time to reflect and examine what you're spending your energy and time on. Make sure everything is aligned with your plan and long-term goals, and make adjustments if needed.
I think that's perfect for the last card. That, and Abraham Hicks always says, you can't get it wrong and you'll never get it done. The whole point here is just joyous expansion. So no matter what decision you make, you're still going to grow. And eventually you're still going to end up where you're meant to be.
And I have to say it, basically what this podcast is all about is coming into alignment, and it's about bringing yourself into alignment, and it will always guide you on your path. Like, you'll never be led wrong if you stay connected to you and follow your highest excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. Pay attention to how you feel. Your intuition is your guidance system. In the original meaning, it says the gardener is surveying his efforts, showing that he has come to a place where he could reap the rewards, harvest his crop. But it brings some issues of what is next, which we talk about a lot on this podcast, and fear of moving on. Don't let that fear hold you back from going after what your heart is truly saying. It's time to assess and evaluate your efforts so far, looking at how far you've come and taking a step back to think about where you're heading. Upright encourages you to take stock of what you've achieved and how far you've come, and to realistically evaluate a situation and possibly take a break. It may be time to move on to something new. Take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What is going to help you move towards your goal, and what is your next goal? Reversed, now is not the time to sit around and do nothing. You have come so far, now you need to act. Maybe you have not achieved what you thought you would have by now. It could be time to try a different approach or walk away altogether. More effort in the same endeavor will not give you what you need, so it's time to try something different.
This big book of tarot has it says a similar thing, and I think it's important to note. So it says it can indicate a crossroads in life. In life, there's a tendency to continue with familiar routes. To go in a new direction isn't easy, but this card may be telling you to figure out if you need a course correction, or even need, it says, even a complete about face, whatever that means.
I think ending,
Yeah.
completely walk away.
You're not yet committed to a certain path, but you could be soon. Change is still possible. So if there are things that you need to let go of that you haven't yet, think about where that path might lead you down the road if you don't take action on letting that go. Is that the life that you really want? And I also encourage you to think about what your life might look like if you do take action, and maybe let go of these things that are no longer serving you or that are holding you back, because paving the new way might be scary, but you'll get to the destination that you truly are looking for, I guess. So yeah, it just comes back to choosing your path, choosing your own adventure. Like, where do you want to end up, and what are you going to do to get there? You have to make changes and transform and grow and alchemize in order to allow for change. And if you don't do that, your life's going to stay the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Move out of faith, not fear, and follow your heart. On that note,
that completes the spread. I hope that this is valuable to you guys, and if you want us to do more of these, let us know, please. And just take some time to be introspective and think about this, and set your intentions for the next year. What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Give yourself time and space to welcome that, and to notice the action that you want to take that's in most alignment with you.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, as always, for helping us raise the frequency. You have our eternal gratitude for your time and energy, and we will see you in the next episode. Please, if you like this episode, like it, subscribe, comment, share it. We so appreciate your help.
Thanks again. Namaste.
Bye.